Another year, another Call of Duty. If there's one thing you can depend on each and every year, it's that there will be another Call of Duty and people are going to eat it up. It's not something that upsets me or offends me, like why bother being upset at, a force of nature? Your attitude isn't going to stop it from existing. One thing that really did surprise me this year though, with Call of Duty Vanguard, the newest title from Sledgehammer Games, is that I didn't see a single person talking about it leading up to its launch. No reviews, no hype, no massive trailers, nothing. In a way, it made me more interested in the game. What was this magical Call of Duty game that seemed to sneak in under the cover of night, managing to not even make a peep? What exactly were Activision trying to hide? Apart from the obvious sexual harassment claims and such, but what was this game going to be? I knew not a single thing before launching this year's Call of Duty, and I'll admit, my imagination did get the better of me. Could this be something entirely new? Something fantastical, magical, a new experience that transcends it from being just another Call of Duty game? There truly was only one way to find out, and that would be buying it and actually playing it, since, again, no one was talking about it. You see, Call of Duty is such an interesting franchise to me since it's been around for the last 20 years, and it's one of the only franchises that's consistently released yearly titles that have maintained popularity. It's almost unheard of in any media, really. Its staying power is unparalleled. To really keep that momentum going, surely every single game has had to shake up the formula somewhat and deliver a new experience, right? Like I couldn't wait to see what setting they had chosen for this year's Rooty Tooty Shooty experience. Surely it had to be something I'd never even considered before. Maybe this would be the Call of Duty where you finally become a Neanderthal and use your sticks and arrows to conduct nighttime raids against the Urkshaluk tribe or whatever. But maybe we jet off into the far reaches of space and we're using, futuristic guns to wage war on the Flurgons of Caesar Prime. Maybe this is set during the colonial era and you sail around colonizing. Well, actually scratch that one. That doesn't sound like it would do all too well in the current market. The possibilities are endless with this Call of Duty franchise since they bring out a new experience every single year. So I couldn't wait to see what setting this game took place in. And I guess there's no better way to actually find out than to put my boots on the ground and get in there and discover for myself. So let's see. What do we have here? Give me a second. Let me just check my notes here. Wait. World War II? Nah, fuck. Yes, that's right. Vanguard is another World War II Call of Duty. Praise the Lord. Thank you, Bobby Kotick. You have heard our cries and delivered upon us yet another World War II shooter, for that is what we solemnly require. I will concede there haven't been as many World War II shooters in the past few years, but that's primarily been because the 2000s, and even as far as early 2010, it was just absolutely dominated by World War II shooters, even from within the Call of Duty franchise itself. So upon hearing this was going to be just yet another World War II shooter, yes, I will admit my interest waned ever so slightly. It's just kind of hard to be interested in something you've already experienced endless times before, and this rings true twice for both Call of Duty and digital recreations of World War II. But wait, I thought to myself earnestly, I'm attempting to be a world-renowned video game reviewer here with actual journalistic integrity. It wouldn't be fair to Mr. Kotick and his stock price if I were just to write this year's Call of Duty off, just because its setting wasn't exactly fresh or up to my standards. Then I thought even deeper, jerking my intellectual thoughts off from within my own brain. Hundreds of people worked on this game, for potentially longer than a year. They suffered humiliating situations at the Activision offices and times of desperate crunch just to bring me this game. It would be a disservice to their sacrifice if I didn't play this and give it a fair shake. So, to continue the self-jerk-off hypothetical, a fair shake I did give it. And you know what? I was actually pleasantly surprised. Not only is this the most polished, content-complete AAA shooter I can think of in years, packed with things to do, the actual quality of the content within it isn't even bad at all. I actually had moments of genuine surprise that I was experiencing something akin to fun in the very video game that the entire world had written off. Is it a perfect game? No, absolutely not. Are you insane? It's Call of Duty. But that's not the point. Hardly anything is perfect, but I think this is the perfect game for the Call of Duty audience. I am so not the Call of Duty audience. I don't even smoke weed. But even I can understand the fun that can be had here. It doesn't do anything new. Hell, it unapologetically doesn't even try. But this is the most Call of Duty game that I think has ever existed. From the chaotic and arcadey multiplayer that makes you feel like you're hopped up on a cocktail of uppers, to a delightfully cheesy and bombastic campaign mode that keeps you engaged for the entirety of it. And am I mistaken, or is that not what the Call of Duty fanbase signs up for each and every year? They're not looking for new things. They're looking for that feeling they got during Call of Duty 4 or Modern Warfare 2 or Black Ops 2. This game, it's got those feelings in spades, way more than any of the most recent Call of Duties in my humble outsider opinion, for what it's worth. So let's start from the top. The campaign. Every Call of Duty release apart from Black Ops 4 I think has had a campaign, as far as I'm aware. And this one, it's no different. In a world where some first-person shooters are starting to release without campaigns, I'm actually very happy that Call of Duty has decided to stick with them. Because, honestly, there's nothing in the industry quite like a Call of Duty campaign. They're bombastic, schlocky, dramatic, predictable, and usually these words together would be a negative, but man, I just cannot hate a Call of Duty campaign. It's so easy and palatable that it winds up feeling like an enjoyable B-movie. Is it bland? Yes. Is it short? Yes, thankfully. But the marquee moments within the campaign, the set pieces and the action and the cutscenes and the basic story premise, it all feels like it was written by a kid playing with plastic figures. It all has it feeling like it just hits the right note for me. I really do equate these campaigns to like a burger from McDonald's. Should you exclusively live off of McDonald's burgers? No, obviously not. That's a recipe for disaster, or like colonic cancer. But once a year, a sneaky burger from Macca's isn't gonna hurt, and often, it can be just what you need. It's filling and cheap and quick, and it does the job. You know exactly what you're getting when you get a McDonald's burger. Sure, you run the risk of, that colonic cancer I just mentioned, and hell, you don't even know exactly what they're putting in the burger, but that's all part of the deal. I think. I kind of got lost in my own metaphor there for a second. Regardless, the campaign is fun. It has all of the hallmarks of a Call of Duty campaign mode that you've come to know and love. It's not some marvel of storytelling. The characters are two-dimensional and dull, and it's entirely predictable and lacking in any form of substance. I see a lot of people saying the campaign is too short, and yeah, I hear you. It took me about 4 hours to complete, and I was playing on hardened, so I'm sure that's a lot quicker at lower difficulties. And a strong 25% of that runtime is the gorgeous cinematics, so realistically, the time you spend actually playing the campaign is even less. But to briefly go back to my previous metaphor, which was oh so solid, could you imagine how disgusting that McDonald's burger would taste if it took you twice or even 3 times as long to eat? At this level of quality and what's actually in the campaign, I'm glad it didn't go for over 4 hours, because if it dragged on any longer, it ceases to be that fun, painless experience it currently is, unless it innovates drastically on the game mechanics and storytelling, which is just not going to happen on a Call of Duty release schedule. I understand the argument that from a cost perspective, certain people want more length from their games, and I would completely agree with that if this was entirely a single-player campaign game, but it's not. The entire package is worth the price of admission in this circumstance, so I don't have a problem with the campaign being on the shorter end. Would I like to see more engaging, longer form campaigns in Call of Duty? Absolutely. But I don't feel like both of those experiences can't coexist in different packages, and just because we didn't get that longer, more substantial campaign this time, doesn't mean the current campaign in this package isn't any fun. Now, again, I get it. Call of Duty fatigue is a very real thing, and I can completely appreciate those of you who have tuned in yearly are maybe tired of the exact same experience, and perhaps this is where we differ, as I haven't played most recent Call of Duties for more than, say, 3 or 4 hours. As someone who's tired of endless games with large open worlds filled with icons, where you do the exact same thing over and over again, I was actually extremely pleased with the linear campaign that was quickly digestible, because these are becoming more of a rarity actually, especially in the genre. But my point is, if you've already tired of Call of Duty, this isn't going to change you. There's nothing new here, not just in the campaign but in every other game mode as well. You know yourself best, and I'm not going to lie to you and say this is any different, because it's not. It's just Call of Duty. Visually, the game is beautiful though, and it runs extremely well, at least on PC. I ran the game on an RTX 2080 Ti at 4K ultra high settings, and I was getting between 70 and 80 frames per second usually, but the game fundamentally felt very fluid to play and very enjoyable to look at as well. Particularly the lighting in this game was absolutely fantastic. There were actually many moments during the campaign where I'd just stop and look at the lighting. Like one particular moment would have me sneaking through a darkened bunker and then alarms would go off, just bathing the room in this awesome red glow. Or there were mortar shells that would illuminate the battlefield that I was running through in just a very visually pleasing way. Like the lighting was fantastic in this. It drastically helped the tension at times as well. There were times I'd be in a dark basement sneaking around with Nazis creaking around on the floorboards above me, and I'd look up and see the shadows through the boards and pieces of dust falling through the cracks, glimmering ever so slightly and the beams of light cascading through. It's a very beautiful game at times, and even I would say for a strong majority of the game. It helps that there are so many environments in the game, so many that aesthetically the game felt quite diverse for a World War II game. Lush jungles, desert dunes, snow-covered Stalingrad. For a 4-hour game, it's an excellent arrangement of locations that kept you wanting to see what corner of the war you'd go to next. One technical aspect of the game that I could see as being a step back was the audio, at least compared to other entries in the franchise, which I remember as being really good. I mean, they're not bad here, and I'm not an audio expert, so take what I say with a grain of salt, but I did feel like a lot of the gun sounds didn't have that oomph behind them that I remembered previous titles having, definitely at least to a level where I noticed the dip in quality. The game's got a good soundtrack though, and it does the job really well. No complaints there. The main theme is pretty great actually, with a strong, oppressive but sorrow-laced orchestral piece by Bear McCreary that is really enjoyable to listen to. The other graphical things I noticed was the texture work is phenomenal. I would say it's of slightly less quality than 2019's Modern Warfare, which ran on the same upgraded engine. But regardless, it's a very well put together game, and I just cannot wait to see what this engine does once it's more widely used in the series. Narratively, you could probably expect this, but the game isn't anything special. You play as 4 rough World War II soldiers who have joined forces as a special task force to take down and foil those dastardly Nazis and their end-of-war retirement plans. You're imprisoned at the start of the game as a mission goes horribly wrong, as is the norm for most Call of Duty campaigns, and then you take turns reliving the characters' war efforts while they're tortured individually. You learn about how one Russian character took revenge against a German leader in Stalingrad, and how her own personal losses tainted her personality. You learn how an American ace pilot learned how to trust friends and be a team player as he joined a colored team of commandos after being down in the Pacific Islands. And you learn how an Australian guy learned how to punch his commanding officer? I'm not really sure about that one, but regardless, the characters get a bit of development here, but really it's all very rudimentary and not very compelling narratively. I don't particularly find origin stories very compelling in the first place, especially if they make up the entirety of a narrative package, and that is the case here. The time we spent with each of the characters in their pasts means we weren't really immersed in the current story of the game is trying to tell, because it happens in the background of what we're actually engaging with on a mission-by-mission basis. The narrative dissonance that stems from that leaves the story feeling a bit unfocused, and it leads to the main thrust of the story not feeling as important as it should. For example, there's a traditional main antagonist of the game, and I think this narrative dissonance is the primary reason for why, spoilers, I felt nothing when at the end of the game we lit him on fire and killed him off, because really we spent no time with him. Obviously he was bad, he was a mustache-twirling Nazi for God's sake, but I didn't feel invested in his downfall because, realistically, he didn't even seem that important narratively. All in all, the narrative is a tool to get you from one location to the next doing cool Call of Duty stuff. It's not great, the dialogue isn't enjoyable, and the story beats themselves aren't anything exciting. But they're not so egregiously bad that I can necessarily point to them as being a detractor of the experience. Mechanically, the missions are somewhat diverse this campaign. The game does make an effort of adding new mechanics every mission that spice up the gameplay enough to where I did actively notice their efforts, and I was actually engaged in playing with the new tools and activities they give you. Whilst they don't feel new in the grand scheme of game design in general, they are new within their standalone campaign experience, and do help to break up the general moment-to-moment gameplay, so you're not just shooting people ad nauseum. I mean, you still are, but at least it spices things up here and there. One mission has you using your knife to distract enemy snipers, like you use the sunlight to reflect off your knife, creating a glare that the snipers shoot at, so then you can easily tell where they are and then take them out. One has you sneaking around a burning countryside in France, stabbing people in the back. Another has you flying a plane in the Pacific or planting explosives in the desert. So yeah, they're varied enough where the game never really gets boring mechanically, at least not to me, but I wouldn't say they're game or genre defining or something you have to go out of your way to experience. There are many set pieces in the game as well, like seeing Stalingrad crumble during a bombing run, or storming a gun encampment in Normandy. These moments are great, but I do think certain set pieces being relegated to cutscenes was a flaw, as there is again a sort of narrative dissonance there that stops you from feeling like it's truly happening to you, which I think is very important to this kind of Call of Duty campaign. It's just not as impactful as being in control of the character at the time these set pieces are happening. Okay, so the campaign is a pretty good experience if you go in knowing what to expect. It's a 4-hour campaign with decently fun gameplay and a narrative you don't really need to follow in order to enjoy. If that sounds incredibly basic and shallow, that's because it is. But I'm not going to pretend it was trying to be something deeper than that, and I'm not going to pretend like I didn't enjoy it somewhat, because I did. If you want to spend time in different linear locations shooting AI as you form what can only be described as the World War II version of the Avengers, this is that, and I can't see how or why you'd ever be disappointed in that if you go in with those expectations. So the Call of Duty Vanguard campaign gets my stamp of approval, at least to a serviceable degree. Okay, now let's talk about the multiplayer. So this is Call of Duty multiplayer unapologetically, and this is definitely where I think fans of the franchise will be the absolute happiest. There's nothing new here, at least gameplay wise, but it does everything fans would have been expecting them to do to such a polished degree that I can't help but feel like it's nice to have that inoffensive package that doesn't try to break or correct what isn't broken or incorrect. Sometimes it's nice to go back to the formula that worked and just execute a really fun, enjoyable version of it, and that is Call of Duty Vanguard multiplayer. It's chaotic, arcadey, light, and full of content. The game has 20 maps and they're all for the most part designed really well and follow the same varied design ethos as the main campaign. There's varied game modes with classics like Team Deathmatch and Domination and Search and Destroy all making their returns, with other game modes like Kill Confirmed and Patrol ensuring you just have a plethora of options at your disposal. I'm not sure if any of these are technically new or changed since I'm not a frequent Call of Duty player, but they all feel like they occupy a specific niche of play that I think lends itself really well to the franchise. So, it's good that they're all there. Another part of the game mode equation, and again, not sure if this is new, but it is something I appreciated and noticed, is that you can define a pacing style to your matchmaking preferences. There are 3 options outside of not specifying, that each dictate how the player engages with the multiplayer experience itself. So there's tactical, assault, and blitz, and they're simple. Basically, they define how many players are placed into each match. Choosing tactical, for example, is probably the experience Call of Duty is most well known for, with strong 6v6 classic Call of Duty combat timing, which most of the maps feel like they were designed around. Assault cranks that number up to provide a balanced approach where you have more targets to kill, but it still allows for a bit of room to breathe on each map, with between 20 and 28 players filling the lobbies. And then Blitz is just absolute balls to the wall, chaotic, insane, messy Call of Duty action, where the devs said, screw it, let's just put every stoner we can find in this lobby and see how things shake out. This ends up with the smaller maps filling out with about 28 players and the larger ones seeing 48 players participate in the online, totally historically accurate World War II battles. And the results are basically what you would imagine from this. The maps are just overloaded with enemies to shoot at, and you can't go more than 5 seconds without dying yourself, but it's a unique game style you can choose to play if you want that experience. So the point of all of this is, with 20 maps, again, 20, that's a massive amount of maps at launch. With the amount of varied game modes, ranked gameplay, and player pacing options, there's just an insane amount of content here at launch, more so than any other multiplayer AAA FPS at launch, I would think. Super nice stuff and a great package to launch with. This further expands to the gunsmith itself and weapons and unlockables, and yeah, there's also a lot here. It's presented in a way that initially feels a little bit overwhelming to a newcomer, aka me, but man, if you like Call of Duty, I am just sure you are in heaven with this. Once you get a feel for things, the UI isn't obtrusive or flawed with the gunsmith. I do really just think it's just the sheer amount of content that you're unlocking that is initially overwhelming to someone that's not familiar with the franchise. The amount of guns in the game, combined with the amount of attachments and perks and the customization options, mean you are always going to have things to chase, and you're always going to have new ways to express yourself through your neon pink rifles you can unlock. Again, totally historically accurate. I don't know if it's the most the game has ever shipped with at launch, but it's got to be close, surely. There is just so much there. It also leads to nearly every match ending with a dopamine injection straight into your brain when all of those unlocks start popping up, you know, the ones if you played any Call of Duty. Everything in the multiplayer seems designed to give you that shot, with every hit marker making a satisfying noise, to every kill throwing stuff all over the screen in like a bukkake of points. But that's not really necessarily new to the franchise, it's always been there. It's just really the extent to which Vanguard crams so much stuff in here that makes it truly feel like a Call of Duty fan's wet dream, and it's really hard to fault the game for that. So the multiplayer match-by-match experience is about what you would expect. You'd run around a map, sliding and jumping, crouching and proning, 360ing and shooting at everything that moves, sprinkle in a few objectives, and some people might even focus on those instead of just finding the nearest body to turn dead. It feels fast, responsive, fluid, and the movement feels generally, across the board, better in this game. I felt more in control of my character than in any other Call of Duty in this game, and just moving around in that arcadey way is enjoyable. It's light and unoffensive, it's quick and painless. As with most online FPSs at the moment, shotguns could use a tuning, especially with the movement being so quick, but really only a few lobbies were particularly oppressive in that way, so I don't know if it's currently the meta or not. I don't have anything other to say about the gameplay really, other than it's really fun. The map design is also really good, but my major pain point with the multiplayer, and this is my main annoyance with the multiplayer component of the game, is the spawn points. There were just many times during my online matches where people would just spawn directly on top of me, or I would spawn in the middle of a group of enemies, and I'm not sure if that's because of the combat pacing or because something isn't working as it intended, but even in Blitz mode it never feels fun to die immediately upon respawning, and it doesn't even feel rewarding to kill someone who is birthed from the void directly in front of you. I mean, if I'm honest, I still did kill them every single time, but it didn't feel like I earned that kill. Definitely a major negative of the multiplayer at the moment, and I would want it fixed eventually because it did happen semi-frequently. But regardless, let me reiterate by saying that this doesn't do anything substantially new, and I said that for the campaign and I'm saying it again now. This is Call of Duty. If you like Call of Duty, this is, in my opinion, a strong return to that traditional form of light and quick gameplay, but if you don't like Call of Duty, you will not like Call of Duty. Shocking, I know. Okay, so let's wrap this review up with the weakest of the 3 game modes to be found in Call of Duty Vanguard, and that's zombies. And man, what a boring representation of the zombies game mode. It's just incredibly bare bones and sparse in content, but the biggest flaw is that the game design ethos behind the game mode has been altered to fit a genre that it doesn't really conform to the gameplay itself. You can very easily tell the game design inspiration this time around was the roguelite genre. You spend a lot of the time acquiring random pickups and bonuses from the hub, and what this creates is a somewhat RNG-led assortment of unimaginative stat boosts, which is, again, yes, very roguelite-esque, but you're never surprised or tested to use your kit against anything other than the same old zombies, so it doesn't lead to a very enjoyable or fun or creative experience. There's nothing truly dynamic in here because the enemies are the exact same every single time, save for some rarities like ones with armor and some that explode. So at that point, what are you even doing collecting a random assortment of stat boosts? What's the point of this even borrowing aspects of roguelite gameplay if there's nothing really there to test that against? It just felt very mismatched to me. But even outside of that, the mode itself is just incredibly boring. You use what is possibly the most forgettable hub world in all of Call of Duty Zombie history to transport yourself to 3 different key gameplay modes that you then use to charge yourself up with currency, which then you use back at that forgettable hub world to upgrade your character with those dull stat boosts I was talking about and dull weapon upgrades. But then the dullness itself transcends to the actual gameplay mechanics that you interact with in the Zombies game mode. So the 3 different gameplay objectives you aim to complete through those 3 portals are just as uninspired as the rest of the game mode itself. In one of them you follow a floating skull around a tight corridor-laced hotel. In the next one you might have to simply survive a massive wave of zombies, or power up obelisks with the skulls of the zombies you slay. They're just boring, and there's only 3 of them and you just do them over and over and over again. I really just cannot overemphasize how bland Zombies is in this game. There's no twist on the regular formula, no bosses or unique enemies. You just do an assortment of these 3 main objectives over and over and over and over again until you can escape using the main fountain, and that's it. That's genuinely it. There's just no getting around it. Zombies in Vanguard feels like a massive afterthought. And it's a shame, because the other 2 game modes speak to a return to that traditional form of Call of Duty. The staples have been executed well for the most part, but then you have this lifeless tumor hanging onto the package, and I can't help but think the focus could have been spent better elsewhere if the inclination to do the game mode wasn't even there from the get-go. As far as I can tell, the mode doesn't even feature any Easter egg storylines, and it doesn't feature any wonder weapons, both of which are cornerstones of what fans want from the Zombies experience. So it's just baffling to see them vacant when the team seems to have gone out of their way to deliver an authentic fan-focused Call of Duty experience in the other components of the game. I'll sum it up by saying it's woefully bland and easily the worst part of this otherwise decent Call of Duty package. In conclusion, Call of Duty Vanguard is, again, a surprisingly strong addition to the Call of Duty franchise, filled with those experiences you know and love. There's a campaign that you'll play once and then you'll forget about probably eventually within 2 minutes of completing it. But on the other end of the scale, there's a multiplayer that you'll play for hours on end due to the diverse game modes and plethora of well-designed maps. So Vanguard is a solid package for anyone wanting that traditional Call of Duty experience in a neat bow with strong technical performance. There's campaign, there's multiplayer. And yeah, I think that's everything in the package actually. Yeah, just campaign and multiplayer really. Now, I do understand my enjoyment of the game could potentially stem from the fact that I don't play every single Call of Duty game to release, and I do honestly believe the yearly release schedule is probably hurting the overall perception of the franchise now, and it's potentially damage the long-term health. If I could give some expert advice to you, Mr. Bobby Kotick, I think it would be somewhat beneficial perhaps to take a year off, or maybe move Call of Duty to a once every 2-year release schedule, as I'd really like to see what these clearly talented studios you have under your wings could do with more time to work on these titles. Who knows? Perhaps we could even eventually get our Neanderthal Call of Duty game where we take on those godforsaken filthy Ursula-like tribesmen. So, if you're into arbitrary scores, I'd give Call of Duty Vanguard a 7 out of 10, a 70 out of 100, or a 3.5 out of 5. I know that sounds kind of low for the praise that I was giving it, but realistically it is an average game, and I feel like those scores best encapsulate the quality of the product at the end of the day. So I'd recommend it to those of you who just want mindless shooting fun, or those of you who already know they like Call of Duty, but I'd recommend waiting for a sale if you're on the fence about the value proposition of the game, because I completely understand the concerns about the game featuring a short campaign and a wholly unenjoyable third mode in that of the Zombies mode. So yeah, that does it for this video. Community interaction time. What is everyone's favorite Call of Duty game? Leave your favorite Call of Duty game below. Mine's probably still Modern Warfare 2, because it was just such a massive force of nature during when I was growing up, and I have just so many fond memories of playing it with friends online at the time. I think it was like that and Halo 3 were definitely like my most played multiplayer games online. And still to this day, I think they are. So, yep, that's it for this review. Feel free to subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed it, or dislike it, and let me know below how I can improve these long term, because I really do want to work on ramping the quality on these up and making them as enjoyable as possible for you guys. And you can subscribe to keep up to date with whatever I choose to do on this channel in the future. I'm really enjoying doing these reviews, so I'm probably going to do them for the foreseeable future, and I hope you stick around and join me on this wonderful little review adventure. Thanks guys. See you next time.